Hyundai with engine problems.
Hyundai.
Hyundai vehicles.
Hyundai. New thinking. New possibilities.
The title of this video clearly outlines a story I'm about to tell. However, what you should know is this is not my story. It's actually the story of someone I know very well. And this story may even continue into the Australian court system. Although I've had many terrible encounters with the dealership in question, I can say I've never been told to fuck off by the lovely staff members at Hyundai Australia. So how did we get here and what leads up to this point? There is a bit to unpack here, and if you watch until the end, I highly encourage you to comment about your own experiences and tell me, who do you think is at fault here? Is the victim just another annoying Karen, or is this dealership just a bunch of heads that value money more than ethics? Full disclosure, this is not a fake story, and it's not actually that uncommon. A quick browse through Reddit and you'll find plenty of stories like this from dealerships across the globe, not just from Hyundai. Although I cannot fully validate the legitimacy of this story, I personally believe that the story told is factual rather than fiction, as I did become involved somewhat. More on that later. But this video is for your entertainment and it's not a hit piece on Hyundai or this dealership, so make up your own mind in regards to the details of this video. As these events have been escalated and legal action may be taken, I will not disclose any names or locations within this story. Please also note that this experience is not a true representation on Hyundai's brand, but clearly a management issue within this particular dealership. Okay, enough disclaimers and enough rambling. Before I get into the story, let me tell you my thoughts on dealerships in general. Feel free to skip this part if you're only here for the tea. Keep in mind, I've only ever had terrible experiences with dealerships, so I'm very biased. But I'm sure someone watching might agree with me. For majority of automotive brands, the only way to purchase a new vehicle is through a physical dealership. These dealerships are like gatekeepers between you and the new vehicle, to which they force you into their little games. I've completely made up this next part to outline my understanding on the dealership customer journey, which can be broken down into 3 phases. Phase 1. Lock them in. Phase 2, deny all warranty claims where possible. And Phase 3, kick you to the curb once warranty ends. In Phase 1, you will unwillingly need to speak with some slimy car salesperson who repeats the same old lines to everyone and tries to suck every dollar from you with false discounts and special options. Once you sign the paperwork, you will either get to drive away paying more than MSRP in this climate, or you have to wait 2 years on back order plus incur price increases year on year. Eventually, your brand new vehicle is ready for pickup, and for the next 5 to 7 years, to keep your warranty in check, you have no choice but to only maintain your vehicle normally through the dealership service center. You can go elsewhere and void your warranty, but that slimy salesperson has already told you about capped price, prepaid or free services during your warranty period. Sounds like a pretty good deal, right? No, it's a fucking scam, because big companies need to make money, and if you actually read the fine print, there are so many exclusions to this scheme. Therefore, this idea that you might be saving big money on all service items during the warranty period is just false. But if you already knew that, then you're a very clever human being. And that brings me to the quality of these dealership service centers. This occurs less for high-end brands, but if you don't already have trust issues with dealership mechanics, then you're living your best life. But it's too late for me, because I've already been ripped off firsthand and had to pay for items that weren't replaced. Don't believe me? Maybe before your next service, take a permanent marker to some items yet to be replaced, and there's a slight chance that those parts will still be on the car after you've paid for its replacement. And then good luck trying to explain that to the dealership that you feel like you've been scammed, because you won't get very far. I have no idea why this still happens, but I'd say it's more because of the individual worker rather than the dealership management. Who knows? That leads us into Phase 2. And if you thought warranty was foolproof under the legal consumer laws, think again. Remember, warranty only applies if a fault can be found. And let's say somehow no faults were ever found throughout the entire warranty cycle. Well, that's just a win for the dealership, isn't it? And lastly, Phase 3. Your warranty expires and the special treatment is over. The The dealership will find all those issues you've been complaining about for the last 5 to 7 years during the warranty period, and now they can charge you at 100% cost because you have no damn warranty. Clearly, I've been hurt bad. And yes, my new vehicle experiences have been nothing but garbage. And now we can segue to the main story. Firstly, let's call the main protagonist Jimmy. Now, Jimmy purchased a Hyundai i30 N-Line in 2018 from a Hyundai dealership in Melbourne, Australia. Although satisfied for the first 2 years, that would soon change leading into the third year. 2 minor faults would appear, which included a random delay and struggle to start the vehicle, and sloppy but sometimes extremely delayed gear changes from the automatic DCT. These issues would soon be brought up at the very next service at year 3, however, Jimmy's inquiry did not go very far, as there were no manufacturing faults found according to the dealership's service center. Becoming extremely frustrated, Jimmy reached out to me to make comparisons with my 2018 i30 SR that also has an automatic DCT. After driving my i30, it was agreed that these issues were not normal and were clear faults that needed fixing under warranty, as if left untreated will become very costly outside of warranty. I personally had some seat time in this i30 N-Line, and although I couldn't replicate the starting issue, the gear changes were just awful, which made the car very unpleasant to drive and actually somewhat dangerous. So Jimmy continues to complain about the faults at every service, but nothing was ever found, and the service center staff would continue to convince Jimmy that these so-called faults were just normal for this vehicle. Time went on and warranty expiry became closer and closer. Keeping in mind the faults also became worse over time, but because Jimmy did not drive the vehicle frequently, it did not cause any physical breakdowns. And that brings us to the final service months prior to the warranty expiring. And once again, Jimmy pleads about the faults to the service center. Just like every other service, Jimmy receives a call from Hyundai to explain that the car is ready and no faults have been found. This frustration, building over many years, makes Jimmy a bit upset. And when they arrive at the dealership, with the courtesy of Hyundai's shuttle service, they go full Karen and wants to speak with the supervisor on shift. Yep, that actually happens. But what else are you supposed to do? We all have our moments. Anyway, Jimmy speaks to the manager, whom relays the same old garbage. However, Jimmy explains that they are not accepting the vehicle until some issue is found. This clearly doesn't sit well with the manager, as they tell Jimmy that space is an issue right now, and instead they can book a future time to inspect the vehicle in a couple months. But Jimmy refuses because the warranty is already expiring. So the manager agrees to keep the vehicle for another day, and Jimmy is sent home on their pristine shuttle bus service. The next day comes and Jimmy receives a call. Voila! The issue was found. The DCT was totally fucked, and it's going to take weeks to process the warranty claim and for the new DCT to arrive, so Jimmy will be without a car for a while. Although this seems like a positive outcome, it's actually a huge inconvenience to Jimmy, so they demand a free hire car for the inconvenience. It wasn't easy getting a complimentary hire car, but who knew that threats of legal action can get you things in this world? So Jimmy picks up the hire car the next morning. Jimmy actually doesn't get to use the hire car for long, because by some miracle, the DCT was changed that same afternoon. Turns out they had a brand new DCT just sitting around in the dealership. I guess the free hire car prompted them to maybe look a bit harder. Now, if you're a smart person, I'm sure you can guess what happens next. The DCT was replaced, but the starting issue remained unknown. However, at least the car drove normally now, for approximately 8 months. The same gear fault would be coming back to light again, and to make matters worse, the vehicle was now out of warranty. It begs the question, did they actually replace the DCT with a brand new part? I think I'll leave that to your imagination, because we still don't know to this day. So now Jimmy is frustrated, and rightfully so. The experience with Hyundai has been dreadful from year 3 onwards, with no signs of the dealership staff actually trying to help solve the issue. So Jimmy goes back to the dealership to present the vehicle, and after paying the diagnostic fee, they quickly found an issue with the DCT again. Being quoted up to $1,800 for the parts and labor, Jimmy was under the impression that the replacement part had independent warranty, however quickly realized that that was more fantasy than reality. And no, Jimmy did not go full Karen this time, because that would be super embarrassing. But after speaking to the manager, it was clear that helping was not on the menu. So the options were to pay up or go somewhere else. So Jimmy stays calm and tells the manager they'll need to make some arrangements and they'll come back in an hour because Jimmy has a plan. That plan is to call in the big dogs, Hyundai head office. Surely they will understand the situation, right? Wrong. The call was a huge waste of time and the query could not be escalated past the phone call. Head office explained that it's up to the dealership to make the final call on the situation because the car is now out of warranty, but it's also very unlikely they will replace parts for free. So Jimmy returns to the dealership to once again plead with the manager. When I describe pleading, I'm unclear if this was begging or just straight up aggressiveness towards the manager. But one thing was clear, the manager and staff were extremely dismissive and had no interest in Jimmy's argument. But Jimmy insisted to strike a deal with the manager, as they did not believe it was their fault. Let's meet halfway, Jimmy says. This is bullshit, Jimmy complains. And that's when it happened. Clearly, something triggers the manager because to Jimmy's face, they say the following in their very Australian accent. Mate, your car is out of warranty? Get that through your thick fucking head? You either pay up or fuck off. And that leads us to current day, to which I can't comment on the situation, but let's say legal action is pending. It's unclear whether this action will prove effective, but a dealership's unwillingness to replace parts under warranty is literally nothing new. I've experienced this and maybe you have too. But getting told by the dealership manager to fuck off is definitely some news to me, and it's actually pretty funny. So, if you made it this far, let's hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you also have your own dealership nightmare story, feel free to express yourself. And make sure you follow my channel so you can keep up to date with all my new videos. Thanks.